And if you come to the issue of marriage, not all marriages go as well as we wish, because this is human nature. Some religions, you will find that the spouses are stuck with one another for life. It's a life sentence. But they know that they cannot stay married. They go to the church and the church says there's no divorce. So they are stuck with one another. And because they don't want one another, we see infidelity, we see cheating, each one living his own private life, but they are considered to be married to one another. Islam is a realistic religion, does not promote divorce, does not want divorce. But if it is required and needed, then it makes a way out through divorce. The hadith that many Muslims repeat, which says أبغض الحلال إلى الله الطلاق. أبغض الحلال, the most abhorred halal things to Allah is divorce. So it is halal, but it is abhorred. This hadith is not authentic, though the meaning can be correct, but the hadith is not authentic, because Allah Azza wa Jal does not like divorce when it is uncalled for, when there is no reason for it. Yes, Allah doesn't like it. But if there is a reason and a justification, in this case, Allah recommends it. If not, mandate it. It can be mandatory, and it can be recommended, and it can be permissible. It depends on the situation. So if a man has an evil wife and she does not abide by the hijab, she doesn't pray on time, she hates adhering to Islamic laws and wants to rebel, doesn't want to obey her husband, why is he keeping her? You have to divorce her. She's a disobedient woman and an evil one, and you're not recommended to keep her. But if she is a righteous woman, practicing woman, fearing Allah, and you want to divorce her because she's wearing the niqab, then you are sinful for that, because this is a sin to divorce a righteous woman because she's following the sunnah, or at least she's doing something that is righteous and full of iman. So divorce as a concept is found in Islam. There is a whole chapter, a whole surah in the Quran called At-Talaq, and the rulings of divorce were mentioned in so many places in the Quran. Not because Islam promotes divorce. On the contrary, as we've stated earlier, it doesn't promote divorce, but it is a necessity in some times, and it is like a surgeon. Sometimes he has to cut people open. If he does this without any legitimate reason, that would be a crime. But if he does it with a legitimate reason, then this is something that is positive and good for humanity. So termination of such a marriage contract is something that is required sometimes. If the woman initiates it and does not want to continue in this marriage, and she's willing to sacrifice herself by returning the dowry back to the husband, this is known as khul'. But if it is the husband who's initiating this, then this is known as divorce. Now, when we talk about divorce, there are formulas for divorce. So, is it any word that comes out of the mouth of the husband that would impact the validity of the marriage and would enforce divorce to take place? No. The formulas of divorce are divided into two types: clear and ambiguous. So a clear formula of divorce is to say what indicates without any ambiguity that the marriage is dissolved. So if a man says to his wife, I divorce you, I have divorced you, you are divorced, all of these are clear and straightforward divorce. There is no ambiguity in it. The intention is not of any importance because the statement was clear. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, there are three statements taken seriously, whether they are said in seriousness or in jest: marriage, divorce, and reinstatement or reconciliation of the marriage after divorce. What is this hadith? If I joke with a friend and I say, listen, my daughter is married to your son, I give you my daughter as a wife to your son. My daughter is 3 years old, his son is 5 years old. And the man says, I accept her marriage to my son. And we're joking, we're playing, we're messing around. And this is in the presence of two male witnesses. So the marriage is valid. Ya Sheikh, it's a 3-year and a 5-year-old children. I said, yes, but their parents are their guardians and they have the authority to give them in marriage. But they were joking. There's no joking in marriage. Likewise, there's no joking in divorce. A man loves his wife and they're drinking cappuccino together, and she says something to him and he says jokingly, well, if this is the case, then I divorce you, love, or you divorced my wife. What are you going to do about it? And then they continue their cappuccino. They're divorced. Sheikh, he was joking. Still, the Prophet said, even if it were said in jokingly, it takes place. And likewise, reconciliation. So a man divorces his wife, she's in her iddah period, and he says to her, but not intending it, okay, I reconcile with you. I get you back into my guardianship. And she's happy. He says, I was joking. There's no joke about it. She's back to you as a wife, and you have to divorce her again or a third time, and which is something you did not plan, but tough bananas. This is what you have done. So the word that comes out of your mouth has a great weight. You can enter Islam with the word La ilaha illallah, and you can exit Islam with a single word. It can take you up to paradise, and it can throw you in hell the distance of 70 years of travel with a word that you did not pay any attention to. So it is very important to know that clear and unambiguous phrases of divorce take effect immediately, regardless of the intention. Now, there are statements that do not fall under divorce. So if I say to a woman, I will divorce you tomorrow, this is not a divorce. I'm contemplating on divorcing you now. This is not a divorce. Any similar statement that talks about the future, and some even say about the present. When I say, listen, woman, I am divorcing you, and this is a continuous sense or tense. Some say that this takes place, some say no, because it has to be either a description, you are divorced, it's an adjective, or something in the past, I divorced you, I have divorced you. But something in the future or something in the present, this is what scholars say does not take place. And the most efficient place for you to solve such problems is to go to the Muslim court, sit with the judge or with the mufti, and take a verdict from him. The second type of formulas of divorce are formulas that are ambiguous, not clear. So when a man says to his wife in anger, you're free, or when he says, go to your parents' house, I don't want you anymore, or when he says, I have nothing to do with it, this is the end of anything between you and me. All of these phrases and similar to them are not clear and direct divorce. And as you've heard, the word divorce was not even mentioned. So what is the ruling on this? Well, scholars say that ambiguous divorce does not take place unless it was intended. So the person who said, go to your parents' house, it's over. And he says, Sheikh, is this divorce or not? And I say to him, what did you intend when you said that phrase? If he says to me, Wallahi, I did not intend a divorce, I just was angry and just wanted her to leave, or I just wanted to frighten her, scare her, in this case we say to him, this is not a divorce. But if he says, when I told her it's over, whatever is between me and you is over, no, I intended that this was a divorce, then one divorce takes place. And a lot of the women don't like this. They call and say, Sheikh, my husband said so and so and so. So I tell her, let your husband call. She says, I know, I need to know the answer now. I said, I can't give you the answer. I have to ask the man who initiated this what his intention was. I'll give another example. We have something called conditional divorce. So a man says, Wallahi, by Allah, if you go to your sister's house, you're divorced. And the woman goes to her sister's house. When she comes back, the husband calls, says, Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum, I said so and so to my wife. Is she divorced? Are we divorced now or what? So this conditional divorce depends on the intention. So I usually ask him, Akhi, when you said your statement, what was your intention? The man usually says, Wallahi, I had no intention of divorcing her. But every time she goes to her sister plays and messes with her mind, ordering her to demand a new set of furniture in the house, ordering her to ask me to take her to holidays, and to give her money and to buy her houses. So I just wanted to stop all of this nonsense by preventing her from going to her sister, and she doesn't want to listen. So I said what I said. We say to him, no, this is not a divorce. This was said to scare, to intimidate, to prevent someone from doing something. And a divorce was not intended. Hence, according to Ibn Taymiyyah and other scholars, and this is what Sheikh bin Baz and Uthaymeen give fatwa on, he has to expiate that because it was an oath, and feeds 10 poor people. But if the man says, Sheikh, her sister runs a brothel and she has prostitutes and their customers coming to her house, and I told my wife, you cannot go to your sister's house because she's a bad and evil woman, and she insisted on me. So I said to her, I can't keep a wife like you who goes to a brothel and corrupt and pollute and tarnish my reputation. So if you go to your sister's house, you're divorced. And she went. We say this is a valid divorce because your intention was actually to divorce. So the intention is important. In ambiguous divorces, we have to ask the man. Likewise, a woman comes and says, Sheikh, my husband sent me a text message saying, I divorce you. Is it valid? Well, text messaging is a difference of opinion among scholars. Scholars say that even writing, I divorce you, on a piece of paper is ambiguous, because the man could say, I was just testing my handwriting, or he may say, I was just giving her a scare. I didn't divorce, I didn't utter it, I didn't say it. And some scholars say, well, depends. If there were circumstances that prove that this was intended, then this is a valid divorce, as in the case of a fight, a big, strong fight between the spouses, and then he writes to her, I divorce you, or texts her. So this is all for the Muslim judge to rule and to look into, so he would be able to decide whether the divorce took place or not.